Please have a roll call.
Councilmember Guimedo,
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Present.
and Mayor Altamirano.
Here. Okay, we'll open up public comment. Is there any public comment this evening?
Not for closed session.
Not for closed session. Okay, so before we recess to closed session, can you report on the agenda for closed session?
There is one item on the closed session agenda. The city council will confer with its real property negotiator with respect to negotiation within properties located A 5550 Harbor Street, Commerce and Eastern Avenue, B 5625 Gilson Street, Commerce, C 555 Gilson Street, Commerce, D Gilson Street and Washington properties, and then E 5736 East Washington Boulevard property and 5733 Sheila Street, Commerce.
Okay, thank you. So we're now recessed to closed session. See you guys in closed session. No, open our public meeting now, so would you like to report out to our city attorney, Norma?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor, and members of the council. Closed session discussions commenced at 5:08 PM. All members were present via video conference with the exception of Councilmember Soria. We did discuss the agenda items as listed on the agenda out of order. We first discussed item 1D. City manager and assistant city manager Voko Domek provided a briefing as to item 1D. Direction was provided to staff. No final action was taken. Nothing further to report. As to item 1E, again, city manager Cisneros and assistant city manager Domek provided an update to council. No reportable action was taken. Nothing further to report. As to item 1A, 1B, and 1C, which were discussed collectively, a briefing and update was provided to members of the council by City Manager Cisneros. No reportable action was taken. Nothing further to report. Closed session discussions concluded at 5:26 PM this evening, and that concludes my report.
Perfect. Can I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Guimeda,
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Present.
Councilmember Soria,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ribor,
Here.
and Tamirano.
Okay, so before we go to public comment, we're gonna have appearances and presentation. And I'm going to start with item number 2, which is the proclamation declaring the month of September 2020 as Deaf Awareness Month. So I'm gonna walk over to the chambers and I'll see you there.
Los Angeles Agency of Deafness Incorporated and National Association of the Deaf are valuable resources which provide referrals and resources to the deaf and hearing impaired. And whereas the City of Commerce Special Needs Commission promotes greater awareness and recommend programs and services to assist those with needs in our community. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Commerce does hereby proclaim the month of September 2020 as Deaf Awareness Month in the City of Commerce and urges everyone to learn more about deafness, including how to communicate with our hearing impaired community. Signed, Mayor Ivan Altamirano. Thank you so much. Look, here's your... This is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. We are completely blessed and we feel honored. Finding out that your daughter is hard of hearing is, it was new for us, but we were blessed enough to participate in a program and in a city that has always been very receptive. Our Aqua family, from the first year that we found out, were opened to a deaf awareness event, and the following year we were able to do it again, and it grew in size. And it has been really nice to be able to educate the community from the inside out, and we are very fortunate to be part of that, and watching the kids grow and learn about deafness and the many ways of communicating and just understanding it a little bit more has been it's been really good for us as far as the community and the support that we've received, so we're very grateful. Thank you so much.
You want to say something?
I want to say thank you to everyone. Aqua family.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to take a picture. We're going to take a picture.
While we wait for the mayor to come back, Mr. City Manager, and if I may, I know a lot of us had trouble kind of hearing what was going on, but we would like to thank Samantha for a member of our water polo family, her and her family, for coming today to receive the proclamation proclaiming this month Deaf Awareness Month. I know that we're having some technical difficulties, so we were not able to hear the proclamation, but thank you to the mayor for proclaiming this month Deaf Awareness Month, and to Neil Cordova, who was here to grace us with the translation and sign, and just for some of you, if he looked a little familiar, he is one of our Commerce Pride translating for the supervisor and Mayor Garcetti during the COVID updates that we've been able to see on TV. So I would also like to thank Neil Cordova and just, let him know how proud we are of him, of representing our city during these trying times. So thank you, and thank you again to Samantha and her family for coming today to receive the commendation, and to her mom, Janelle. For 2 years in a row, she's been, she puts up these great displays on the pool deck or outside of the park during Deaf Awareness Month. And last year they were able to do a story time. She brings resources to just raise awareness and give us information. Unfortunately, COVID doesn't permit for us to do that this year. But I also wanted to thank Janelle for just being such a huge advocate for our community. And so thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may, is it okay if we have the mayor read the commendation into the minutes? Because I was trying to figure out what was coming out, and it was really, really tough trying to understand anything. And just so the viewing audience can see what the commendation says, I would like to request that we put it into the minutes and the mayor reads it into the minutes, just so the people know exactly what was said at the council chambers. If we could.
Suggestion, Mr. Councilmember Mendoza. Mr. Mayor, do you have it in your minutes? Unfortunately, we were not able to hear the commendation as you were reading it. They were having some technical difficulties, so I don't think that the community was able to hear it either.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of it? So maybe you can read it.
I'm gonna go get the copy. It's outside the chambers. Give me a minute.
I'll take it to you, Mayor.
All right.
I'm being told that the community was able to hear it. I think it was just us.
Okay. All right. To the council members, Mayor Pro Tem just told me that the community was able to hear that the interference was here in City Hall, that it was read into record. But would you like for me to read it, Councilmember Mendoza?
You know what? Again, I'm watching. I was watching it on the phone, and it wasn't coming out clear on my phone either. Whatever was coming out on the computer was also coming out on my phone. And just in case we have anybody that had any technical difficulties, so they can go ahead and hear exactly what the commendation says. Thank you, Mayor.
Got it. Thank you so much. Proclamation of the City Council of the City of Commerce proclaiming September 2020 as Deaf Awareness Month in the City of Commerce. Whereas the U.S. Census estimates that there are more than 32.3 million deaf people in the United States. And whereas according to the National Institutes of Health, approximately 2 to 3 out of every 1,000 children in the United States are born with detectable level of hearing loss in one or both ears. And whereas there are numerous causes of deafness and hearing loss, including genetics, diseases, viruses, infections, allergies, tumors, head trauma, and aging. And whereas organizations for the deaf, such as Greater Los Angeles Agency of Deafness Incorporated and the National Association for the Deaf, are valuable resources which provide referrals and resources to the deaf and hearing impaired. And whereas the City of Commerce Special Needs Commission promotes greater awareness and recommend programs and services to assist those with special needs in our community. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Commerce does hereby proclaim the month of September 2020 as Deaf Awareness Month in the City of Commerce and urges everyone to learn more about deafness, including how to communicate with our hearing impaired community. Dated this 15th day of September 2020. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to item number 1, which is going to be a presentation update from the Sheriff's Department.
Let's see here. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, how you doing? Hi, I'm doing, I'm the Commerce City Sergeant Ralph, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. First off, I'd like to thank the community of Commerce for their ongoing support during these trying times for law enforcement and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department would also like to announce the safe return of Miss Aurora Martinez. She was a Commerce resident who went missing earlier this month. We want to wish her and her family the best. And since we're on this topic, I would like to also discuss Project Lifesaver. It's a nonprofit organization which helps in the locating of missing persons. You could go to the website. It's projectlifesaver.org, and basically what it is, any individual with that's at risk for missing person, like say Alzheimer's, dementia, special needs, intellectually disabled individuals that often wander off and what it is, it's like a tracking system. It's like a GPS wristband that which goes around the wrist. Now, if they ever go missing, you call the number, department responds, and I believe these are going to be all our aero bureaus, and we're going to also have some patrol cars outfitted with these this tracking equipment. Right now, the Sheriff's Department, everyone in our Sheriff's Department, we have mandatory training on it. I think we're gonna we have to the end of the month to get trained up on it. So this is if you have a chance, look up Project Lifesaver and consider it if you have an at-risk family member. Also, due to the ongoing protests and wildfires, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, we're currently on 12-hour shifts. So this is going to continue until the sheriff deems, the the fires and the protests have cooled down a little bit, then we'll go back to regular shifts. Also, I'd like to talk about the past couple weeks. Over the past 2 weeks, we had since September 1st to now, we had a total of 41 arrests in the city of Commerce. Out of those 41 arrests, 22 felony arrests were made. Some of those felony arrests included 4 robbery suspects, the 3 arrests for weapons violations, 4 assaults, including a murder suspect was arrested, and 2 sexual assaults, and several property crimes and narcotics arrests. We also had 20 out of 21 misdemeanor arrests. Out of those 21 misdemeanor arrests, 7 traffic-related arrests were traffic-related, which included a license, no license, suspended license, drivers, DUIs, hit and runs. We had 2 trespassing arrests, 6 narcotics arrests, 4 vandalism and theft arrests, and 2 misdemeanor assault and weapon charges. We are continuing patrol checks in the Veterans Park, and especially the Pacific area, Bandini, Rosini areas as well. I know we had some issues over off Ayers regarding loud vehicles, particularly motorcycles. Those checks are still getting conducted. Also, over the weekend on Saturday, September 12th, we did have 3 large groups of street racers, which came to the intersection of Triangle and Slauson. The 3 separate groups were cruising together as one big group. I want to say looked like there's about over 100 individuals at the time. But due to our intelligence gathering, we were prepared for them. We kind of had a heads up that they're going to be in town. When they arrived in Commerce, I was immediately notified of where they're at and send a sheriff's response. Our Los Angeles County Aero Bureau responded immediately before any of the units arrived, and the racers quickly dispersed prior to the deputy's arrival. And in closing, I would like to invite any Commerce residents who would like to volunteer organize a neighborhood watch meeting with the Sheriff's Department in their prospective neighborhood utilizing COVID-19 standards to contact me. My email address is Villarreal. It's Al, V as in Victor, ILLAREAL @ci.commerce.ca.us. Just email me and we'll set something up and hear your concerns. And this will conclude my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there any questions for our sergeant?
Mayor, if I may, I would like to ask our Sergeant Villarreal, since you're asking regarding the neighborhood watch meetings, and you did bring up the ABC community, which is the Ayers.
Yes.
I myself have been receiving several calls from seniors in that community about the motorcycles and the cars at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we can start working together with the city and the Sheriff's Department. And as soon as we can, schedule a neighborhood watch meeting, only because there is a senior community that wants to see the city respond to their concerns. So hopefully you brought it up, and if we can do that, I think it'll be good. And also for my colleagues, for us to show some presence in that community to let our seniors know that they're not alone. I received a couple of calls. I know it was getting a little bit out of control. And I want to give a little bit of time for it to cool down, but I guess they're calling all of our colleagues. So I believe we should be, if we're going to start it, let's start it in the ABC community, preferably in the corner of Ayers and Leone Street. So again, I believe that the area where the concerns are at. And again, I just want to make sure that the residents in that community know that we are listening and that we will stand with them, and the Sheriff's Department, and make sure that, we start controlling whatever the concerns are. Thank you, Sergeant.
Yeah, thank you. And may I add, just like I said, we're available anytime, time and place, so we're available. And also if, there's always things going on in the city of Commerce where we may not be there at those certain times, but always call the station, and we'll send a unit over there.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely, please.
I just have a comment. I wanted to thank you and the captain and the team that takes care of commerce on a regular basis, and just express our gratitude and our support during these trying times, and of course share our prayers for protection of all of you and of the two wounded deputies. And that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Mayor, this is Hugo Argumedo. And Sergeant, I just wanted to also echo those same comments that the Vice Mayor just referenced. You have our full support. We know these are difficult times, but you have our full support here in the City of Commerce, and we very much appreciate all you do every day out there for the City of Commerce. And just a quick follow-up, I just want to make sure that this neighborhood watch meeting that was requested by Councilmember Mendoza, I know we had some discussion about some of the problems that he made reference to, and I just want you to make sure that you do come prepared to address some of the calls that have been made in that area, and specifically because I asked about the calls that were made, and they've indicated to me that they have made calls and that there was no response. So I want to make sure we follow up and we're prepared to respond to some of the residents, because they're going to be addressing us and asking about those specific questions. So I'm hoping that we're prepared to respond to that. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the kind words. And also, if you have like dates and times, if the resident have dates and times, we could I could research and look into it, because if they did call.
Yeah, let me get that for you. I thought in our discussion I had provided some of that, but I'll go ahead and reach out and try to get more information on that if I did not.
Yes, because
Okay.
that shouldn't happen. If someone calls, we per our policy, we have to set it. So if that's not getting done, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll follow up and get the actual specific dates and times, and then that way we can then follow up, because I'm sure those items will come up, and I think it's best that we're prepared to respond to that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you, Sarge. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll move on to number 3, the proclamation declaring October 3rd, 2020 as Library Services Volunteer Recognition Day in the City of Commerce. Who's going to be? Is that Beatrice?
Mr. Mayor, Beatriz Sarmiento, Library Director, will have a presentation.
Thank you.
So here I am. Hi. Good afternoon, Mayor Altamirano, Vice Mayor Rebollo, and the members of our City Council. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month kickoff. I'm really happy to be here today, and thank you for your consideration to declare October 3rd as Library Services Volunteer Recognition Day. If someone can put up a very brief PowerPoint just to give you an idea of the volunteers we will be recognizing that day. I know Daniel, there we go. There we go. So for this presentation, I do want to thank our Literacy Program Manager, Evelyn Diaz, and the Library Literacy Assistant, Susana Rosales, who are heading this event. But basically, we're going to be honoring the volunteers in these different areas. Our social services volunteers do help us with food distribution. This is pre-COVID, of course, and also the Holiday Cheer Program, for which we're very grateful. Our Veterans Resource Center volunteers help to do outreach in the community, provide information, programs to local veterans. And I also don't want to miss the opportunity to remind our community that if you are a veteran or have a family member that's a veteran, the Veterans Resource Center is there. You can call the library, speak to Olivia Aldoma, and she can put you in contact with resources for veterans. Our Read Center volunteers, we have adult literacy, thank you, which helps adults who really want to improve their reading and writing skills. And they work one-on-one with the volunteer. The acronym CKR stands for Commerce Kids Read. This is a program for school-age children 7 to 12 years of age who are having trouble with reading or writing to come in twice a week, work with a trained volunteer, and be able to raise their vocabulary, reading, writing, comprehension abilities. Our wonderful embajadoras, they are a group of people from our community that come and they get the information about library programs, services, resources. And then when they're out in the community, wherever they are with friends and family, neighbors, the laundromat, the bank, the post office, and we ask them to just share the library's resources to the community. So really grateful for that group. And the ESL class instructor, that is a 10-week course that happens during the year where adults can feel more comfortable speaking English and to practice English conversation in daily life in places like a parent-teacher conference, the grocery store, talking to someone at school, talking to the doctor, and they do a wonderful job. And another one I'll mention is a U.S. citizenship preparedness class that's also taught there, where our community members can come in and get ready to take the interview exam that is a part of U.S. citizenship application process. Thank you. Next slide. So I'm happy to tell you that between 2019 and 2020, this would stop in March, of course, the Commerce Library has 50 volunteers and over 3,000 hours of service. And there we have some pictures of kids being tutored, and I think that's an ESL class. And the other one is also a group of kids being tutored. Volunteers do complete an application, go through the city's background check. They receive training of about 10 hours and supplemental training as they are volunteers with us. So next slide, please. So our drive-through recognition, it will be that way this year. It will be in front of the library. I believe we've heard from, I know the Mayor Pro Tem, but City Council, you are invited to participate that day. We'll be taking place outside, but we'll have some goodie bags to go and have music outside. We otherwise known as our technical services supervisor, but on that day, he is DJ Library. We'll be providing music out there, and we'll have a very festive mood to say thank you and be grateful to our volunteers and their time and talent. And that will take place again October 3rd from 10:30 a.m. to 12 noon. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Oh, I don't hear anyone. Okay. Do you hear me? I don't know if I lost audio or.
We've got
no, we can hear you.
Okay.
Mayor, members of the council, any questions or just kudos to the library?
Kudos to the library.
Yay, and the volunteers.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Beatriz, for we're all thinking outside of the box, right, during these unprecedented times. And just thank you for acknowledging our volunteers. We are so grateful for them. Of course, we all know the library volunteer program is very near and dear to my heart. That's how I got my foot in the door, volunteering at the Atlantic Library as a homework helper many moons ago. But I want to thank you for acknowledging the work that every single resident does, because, we know this, right, that the best gift that anyone can give is a gift of their time.
That's for sure.
We are more than happy to celebrate with you. So we'll see you there. And again, thank you for thinking outside of the box and continuing to have this volunteer recognition.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I appreciate your words. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to public comment. Is there public comments? You're on mute.
I received several public comments. So the first one came from Bas Palacios. I'm a concerned resident. My name is Bas Palacios. I'm concerned about a proposition coming out in November. That is Proposition 16. Proposition 16 permits the government to discriminate based on race or gender. This is clearly illegal, and we request our elected officials to take a position against it. Oddly, supporters of Proposition 16 state that Proposition 16 benefits people of color in education and government contracting. But where is the language in the proposition that says that? Instead, the proposition merely eliminates the California Constitution that says you cannot be based on race or gender. This is the reason why the residents of the city are against Proposition 16. We must negate racism in all forms. Please read out comments at the meeting. Thank you. I have another one for Proposition 16, Joshua C. Moore. Dear City Council elected officials, my name is Joshua C. Moore. I like to let the City Council know that we should not pass Proposition 16 this November. Proposition 16 is exactly what we saw on TV. The protesters on streets are protesting about inequality and injustice. Single out Asians to punish them for hard work and making the best out of life is simply evil. This country is a great land of opportunity for everyone. The people have said no to CSA 5 in 2014, and we need to say no again this November to stop this racist proposition becoming law. I have one more comment. This one is from Alejandra Gulen. My name is Alejandra Gulen. I have lived in the city of Commerce all my life, and I have grown up enjoying the city's basketball and sports programs. I'm now 15 years old, and it seems that if my life has suddenly stopped due to the coronavirus, and I'm stuck at home and I can't play the game of basketball that I love because of the current situation. I love my city, and I want the city's basketball court and a baseball field that I grew up using to be opened again. I feel it's very unfair that the city opened up the aquatic center, which is indoors, and the courts and the fields that are safe because they're outdoors are still closed. Is swimming more important than other sports? Personally, basketball is my life, and basketball matters as much or probably more to us basketball players than anyone can understand. I play basketball for Shore High School, and it's my responsibility to practice daily and be ready to compete. How am I supposed to keep my promise to my school and my teammates to be at my best if I have nowhere to practice? Also, I read that it's very low possibility for young people to transfer this virus to other young people. So why we're being treated in the same way as adults? The basketball courts don't have to be open for strangers to play against each other. They can be open just for resident families to play by themselves, or at least for people like myself to practice alone. All the parks have staff in charge of the parks, and it's so easy for the staff to only allow permission to use the court if the fields follow these rules. Basketball is my passion. I love everything about it. I dream about someday playing basketball in college on a scholarship. It's not fair to watch others playing, enjoying the pool, and practice swimming while my basketball is getting dusty in my closet. So please open our courts now so I can pursue my dreams and prepare for my upcoming high school season. Thank you very much, Alejandra. That was the last comment.
Thank you for your comments. We'll go ahead and close public comment, move on to consent calendar. And right now we have items number 4, 5. Is there a motion approval?
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Well, actually, we have roll call.
Councilmember Argumedo?
Just for clarification, because we had problem hearing, we're moving on the consent calendar, items 4 and 5, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm yes on that.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Soria?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Reboer?
Yes.
And Mayor Altamirano?
Yes. We'll move on to schedule matters. We have item number 6 to appeal a business license. And who will speak into that?
Yes, Mayor, this is Daniel. I'll be presenting the item. So the recommendation that you have before you is the consideration of or adoption of resolution of holding the revocation of East and West Disposal Company's business license to operate as a non-exclusive commercial waste and recycling hauler in the city of Commerce. I will provide some background before giving you the specific on why we're recommending what we are. So on March 7, 2018, the city issued a 5-year notice to all haulers solely operating under a business license. And then on October 2nd, 2018, the city council approved the execution of a semi-exclusive agreement with 8 haulers. So as part of that, East, West, and West Disposal is part of the non-exclusive pool of providers. So East and West Disposal Company, which is solely operating under a business license, failed to meet their obligation. During the period of February 19th to February 2020, which is the reporting period, they failed to submit the required information as dictated in our municipal code. With that being said, that allows the city manager to suspend any license issued pursuant to Chapter 6 of the municipal code when the licensee has violated any conduct, any conditions imposed on them. So as of now, they weren't reporting customers. So on March 2nd, 2020, we sent a notice of a suspension and an intent to terminate the business license for reporting 0 customers during a 12-year period. East and West Disposal Company was advised of the appeal process on March 11th. On September 2nd, the city provided East and West Disposal Company with a notice that the hearing was scheduled for today. We have included their appeal in as attachment 4. So at this point, I'm not sure if we have a representative from East and West Disposal to be able to provide their case on why this appeal should be heard. But we as from a staff standpoint, have had some challenges with this specific hauler. They are regularly submitting reports or requested information tardy. They're not scheduled turning those on time. So this is why we feel that the proposed recommendation is just. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those.
Any questions for Daniel?
Mayor, I just have a.
No, I think the. Go ahead. Sorry.
Councilmember.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Member Mendoza, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The only question that I have, because I do recall back in 2018 how we're going through the reduction of the trash haulers, and I remember we had a huge list of 20-something, and we're going to reduce them down to about 12. I'm just curious how this company, out of 20 companies, was able to get through to such a small list when I'm seeing that they already had a history. Under the analysis, it says the hauler has had a history of repeatedly failing to comply with the requirements of the city's non-exclusive refuse hauler's license. So not going too far back, but even I'm just curious how we had a list of 22 back in the days, and we reduced it to 8, and this company was able to slide right through to the 8 when we had again a huge list that I'm gonna go out and say we're probably following all the rules, and now we're dealing with the issues. I see a lot of the violations that they committed. I want to support staff and the recommendation. The only question that I have is how were they able to slide from the 22 to the 8 that were there? And I know Public Director Hernandez is fairly new to this process, so I would have preferred for Gina Nila to have done station, because I know this has a lot to do with Cal Recycle, and if we had any follow-ups, she would be the person that would be able to answer the questions. I believe that the main concern we have here is being able to comply when it comes to Cal Recycle, and I can only imagine that's the reason why we're recommending the termination of this trash hauler. Again, just out of curiosity, because there was 22 companies, we went down to 8, and if this company, since back in the days, already had a history, I find it kind of somebody that has a history of violating. I didn't think they were going to straighten up if I would have seen it. But just out of curiosity, again, you might not have the answer because you're fairly new yourself, but I just want to see if I'm kind of looking at it from the right angle.
So I will provide some context. As you mentioned, I'm fairly new to the city, but I do have some information as to your question. So this company, East and West Disposal, they're actually not part of our semi-exclusive pool of haulers. So the city did go out to RFP and did land on those 8 companies. So this company is actually operating on just a business license as a non-exclusive hauler. But the city manager, who was here at the time, could provide a lot more context to that. But that's just in response to your question. So I'll take it over to the city manager.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's correct, Councilor Mendoza and City Council. As Director Hernandez mentioned, you did whittle it down to 8 haulers. However, this hauler is operating under the 5-year license. They received a 5-year notice that they're terminated, effective March 7, 2023. This action by staff, actually, which is now being appealed to the City Council, speeds that up due to their failure to comply. And you're absolutely correct. Due to these issues with CalRecycle, this is why staff recommended to the City Council back in 2018 that we whittle it down because we had so many bad performers, this being one of them. And so this was their opportunity to comply with the law, because otherwise commerce is affected if we don't comply with state mandates. And they've failed to do that. And so we are recommending that we not wait until 2023, but that their business license is terminated in 2020 due to failure to comply. At this point, we are diligently monitoring the 8 that you did whittle it down to, and it does not appear that we have serious and lingering issues at this time with those 8.
Thank you, City Manager. Again, as I was reading the item, I seen that they failed to report on, I think it says here 25 of the 72. And I also read their appeal, and even though I do feel bad that, the owner's going through some health issues and all that, at the same time, it's putting the city at a very precarious position where, again, we don't want to violate any state mandates. And at this point, I mean, feeling bad, like I said, reading the agenda, I'm in support of our staff and opposing the termination. Thank you, City Manager and Director Hernandez.
Thank you. Councilmember Argumedo?
Thank you, Mayor. Basically, I was going to comment along the same lines. I looked at the analysis, and I looked at all of what has already been discussed here. And quite honestly, I support our staff's recommendation with regards to this item. I really feel bad for the owner. I saw his appeal letter, which it looks like he wrote himself, hand wrote himself. I really think it's probably best for him to, give him an opportunity to properly recover and heal from what he's going through now. I think his time would be better served doing that. And, bottom line is I fully agree that it does put us in a situation where we need to take action to protect the city.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so at this time there's a motion to revoke the license of East and West Disposal. Is there a motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Mayor.
There's a motion.
Mendoza.
I would second that.
Okay, can I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Argumedo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Yes.
Poirier, Mayor Pro Tem Reboyer,
Sorry, I'm gonna abstain from this vote.
and Mayor Altamirano.
Yes. All right, motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, I don't recall giving a yes to that, but I am a yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I called.
Okay. They didn't call your name, huh? We're breaking up on this end, so I don't know what took place. So I did hear a yes. And Mayor Pro Tem, did you abstain?
Yes, I did.
You abstained. All right. Got it. Okay. So motion is approved. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 7. And who will then report on 7?
Well, I will begin the report, and then I'm going to transition it over to our consultants. So good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. The item before you is the consideration and approval of a resolution of the City Council approving Commerce Community Choice Aggregation Programs Integrated Resource Plan. And I'm happy to introduce Barbara Boswell with Cal Choice. She is our consultant, has been on board since we implemented the program back in 2018. And she has a short presentation. So I'm going to transition it over to Barbara. Are you with us?
Yep, I'm here, Vilko. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. I'm going to share my screen here for the presentation. So I'm going to just provide a brief background on the community choice aggregation efforts with the City of Commerce, touch on where we are today, and then describe the 2020 Integrated Resource Plan, which the City Council is considering for approval. The City of Commerce CCA efforts began back in 2018 when the City Council authorized the feasibility and technical study for a CCA program in the City of Commerce. Subsequent to that, the city approved the ordinance establishing the CCA, adopted the implementation plan. It was submitted to the PUC for certification, which was received by the city, and set us on the course to be able to implement the community choice aggregation program. Subsequent to that, we were notified by Southern California Edison that they could not support the implementation of Commerce's CCA on the schedule that had been anticipated in the implementation plan due to a billing system replacement project that they had underway, and which actually ended up being delayed. This delay ended up putting us on a course where, due to market conditions, the implementation no longer was looked financially feasible in the beginning. As a result, we did have postponed the implementation until 2022, when conditions are more favorable for implementing the community choice aggregation program. Even though we don't have an operational CCA, we still have a requirement to adopt what's called the Integrated Resource Plan, which is before the council at this time. The Integrated Resource Plan is required pursuant to Senate Bill 350 and is to be filed with the California Public Utilities Commission every 2 years. It is a report that informs the state as to how their greenhouse gas reduction targets will be met by all of the load serving entities in the state. And it's a very prescriptive report with specific templates that we need to use and calculators that we need to use in developing the report. And that is what is reflected in the report we have before you. The report meets all of the public utilities code requirements and reflects the state benchmarks and resources build-out forecasts. So in essence, what the report does is it reflects the City of Commerce's respective portion of greenhouse gas reductions, and we apply that to renewable energy resources, and it looks out to 2030, and it sets a path or a course towards what types of resources will need to be in place in order to meet those greenhouse gas reductions. It does not establish any requirement. It's not prescriptive. It's a planning tool for the state. The report has actually already been filed, where the report was required to be filed by September 1st. And while it is required that the governing body approve it, it is not required to be approved prior to the report being filed. So we did meet requirements of the filing date. That does conclude my presentation, and I would like to answer any questions that you might have.
Council have any questions?
To try to stop my screen share here.
Doesn't look like there's any questions, comments.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion So what staff is recommending is the approval of resolution of the City Council, the City of Commerce approving Commerce Community Choice Aggregation Programs Integrated Resource Plan. Is there a motion for? And,
I would move to approve if there's no comments or questions.
okay, there's a motion and a second. Can I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Argumedo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Sori,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Riboyer,
Yes.
and Mayor Altamirano.
Yes. All right, motion passes. We're gonna go to City Council reports. Councilmember Mendoza, would you like to start?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you. I want to start by, as you guys could all remember, a couple of weeks ago, it was, I'm going to say super hot, and the weather actually broke records throughout the state. I know on September 6th, which was a Sunday, Woodland Hills recorded a temperature of 122 degrees. And I only know that because I have coworkers that work there and came back to work on Monday complaining about how hot it was. A couple of their air conditioners went down, so I can imagine the pain they were going through. I know on Saturday, early Saturday, I was hearing the radio and I was hearing that the city of Los Angeles and a lot of the big cities around us were having their cooling stations. And I recall hearing that they were running their cooling stations all the way to 8 o'clock in the evening. I remember seeing our cooling stations here in Commerce, and if I'm not mistaken, they were being run from 12 p.m. to 5 o'clock. At that point, I know I reached out to Mayor Pro Tem Rebollo, and I asked her, what did she think about us, see what we could do about expanding the hours all the way to 8 o'clock at night. I know I also reached out to the city manager, and I guess there was a consensus for us to extend them. Again, that day, I personally didn't want to put any strain on the electrical grid. So I took out from my house early in the morning so I don't consume any electricity. And we started our day by going up to the LAX local park. I think Councilmember Argumedo knows where that's at. Sit up there in that little park and watch planes just land and leave and land and leave and land. And that out there was only maybe about 90 degrees. So when we left Commerce, it was already 111. My understanding is that it hit 115. So I was happy that I wasn't around. From there, we ended up the day up in Redondo Beach, up over at the pier. I posted some pictures on Facebook how packed it was. And we had to do a little bit of walking, but we actually found an area where we were able to practice distance and also wear our masks and follow all the guidelines. So again, I want to thank not only Mayor Pro Tem Rebollo, but our colleagues for allowing us to extend the cooling stations, because I know at 5 o'clock it was possibly over 100 still, and we do have an aging community, and we have a lot of infants in our community. From there, I want to continue by saying I attended on Saturday the food drive that we had here in Commerce. Again, I was happy to see that our Mayor Pro Tem Oralia Rebollo was moving up and down and really working the event. It was the first time I had an opportunity to join our residents. So again, I was new to it, but I was walking around talking to some of our seniors, some of our residents, and I was able to see the need that our community has during this pandemic. At the end of the day, I believe the number was 400 families that we were able to help out. One of the quotes that's still with me was a quote from president of ASME Local 119, Gary, I forgot his last name right now. But one of the quotes that he made as we were organizing, getting ready for the event, was that, today we're going to try to help out families that might be in need. And he was talking about, the goal was to help them out with 1 week of food. And at the end of his speech, I was impressed by him saying, to us, it might just be feeding them for a week. But at the end of the day, our goal is to give them hope. And again, as I saw residents driving through and getting their their bag of food. It was food for 1 week, but I could see the happiness, the need in their face, the hope that we were giving them. So again, I want to thank ASME Local 119 for participating, joining our union here at Local 773. I also want to thank President Laura Logan for inviting our city council to be part of it. Talking about the library, the public services, Parks and Recs, they did an exceptional job. The event was flawless. At the same time, as I was talking to some of our library employees, I thought they were on the clock. I was advised that some of these workers actually came in to volunteer on their own. They say, you know what, we could be on the clock, but we don't want to be on the clock. We want to volunteer. We actually want to come out here, and that felt good. That felt good to hear that these employees could have came in for pay, but they want to come in and volunteer. That always tells us a lot about the employees that we have, that they're willing to come out and again, help out the community for what it is, helping them out and volunteering. I want to go ahead and end by wishing all my colleagues and our residents here in Commerce a happy 16th of September. I was going through some of the pictures from last year, and it's sad to see what the pandemic has done to our world. Just last year we were on Bristol Park, and the different bands were playing, and we were dialoguing with our residents, having a good time. Life was good. And now, we're down to just wishing them happy 16th of September on YouTube. On Zoom. So again, I just want to continue to tell everybody we're almost out of it. As bad as it is, we'll probably have ways. So again, let's just keep on fighting together and looking out for each other. I think we're going to get through it, and one of these days we'll be in a city celebration when we're all going to be able to just relax and be ourselves. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Aguero.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to thank our Councilmember Mendoza for that great report on that partnership with ASME Locals 119 and 773, which is our employees. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend. Some of you may know I don't really cover this, but I'm actually an essential worker myself, and I was required to work this Saturday, so I couldn't be there. But I want to thank them for the great work that was reported by Councilmember Mendoza, and I know our Vice Mayor was also in attendance. Great job, good work, excellent report, Councilmember Mendoza, on that. Also, I wanted to thank our city, because we have another event coming up. It looks like Thursday, September 17th, drive-through pantry, December 17th from 10:30 to 1 p.m. And that'll be at our Commerce Public Library over in Rosewood Park. And I'm sure that'll also be a very well attended and something. Pardon me? Sorry, was somebody speaking, or?
I think it was an accident, Councilmember.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to thank everybody once again and our city for partnering with the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank on this event that'll help many of our individuals, our seniors, and many of our families here in our community. So I want to thank them for that. Hopefully we'll get a good turnout also for that event. And in that note, I just want to thank all of you for continuing to do what we can to help our community get through this challenging and difficult time that we're going through. I'm hoping that, we hear that there may be a vaccine coming soon by the end of the year. I'm very hopeful that we get something soon, and hopefully we'll begin to turn things around here. So again, I wish you all well, and stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to take an opportunity in a moment to commend the young lady that shared her sentiments this evening at public comment. She made some really valid points in talking about the fact that we've opened certain activities, but we've continued to keep others closed. I think that sometimes some agencies have found a way to use COVID-19 as an impediment to be efficient and effective. And I really hope that that's not the situation with our city and with the safe opening of our community. The young lady made some very valid points in that there should be an opportunity for some of our youth to be able to participate in some capacity at our local parks. I know I've had a few seniors reach out to me as they've seen the drive-up movies and the day camp. And so I've also been approached by some seniors asking what the possibilities are of allowing for them to have some social distancing activities out in the open to provide them some physical exercise as well as some mental health exercise, being that everyone has been cooped up for so long. So I think that we really need to be mindful of how we're leading this organization, what we're using COVID cover as. It shouldn't be a cover to slow things down and to shut things down, but it should bring us to a place where we can find efficiency and effectiveness in our organization. I think that it's important for us to continue to stay transparent. So if there are certain activities that certain groups are being allowed to do, then those activities and opportunities should be allowed for other demographics within our community. I think the same would even go for Camp Commerce, right? We have Camp Commerce closed, but it's been brought to my attention that we do have some executive staff that have taken their families and their extended families up to Camp Commerce. So if we're going to have folks that are exercising these certain opportunities, and these opportunities should also be afforded to our residents, as these, at the end of the day, are amenities that our residents pay for through their taxes and their support of this community. So we need to really examine our mission and our objectives and look at how we're moving through COVID. You know, it's not something that we should be able to have certain privileges for certain people, but that there's transparency and there's equity across the line, not only for those that are staff, executive staff, but also for our residents. That at the end of the day, the City of Commerce was founded on the fact that we were going to provide quality of life and quality services for our residents. And so we need to make sure that we stay true to that mission and begin to examine how we can find ways to provide for all demographics of our community and ensure that we are not being exclusive to only certain demographics or certain employees in our community. Also, we had a press conference on Wednesday in regards to the Commerce Casino. As our community is aware, the City of Commerce has been at a deficit of $12 million up until this point. And so the Joint Powers Authority has united together, and along with the communities that represent those card rooms, and we've been urging the Board of Supervisors to ensure that they allow us to be able to open up our card rooms so that we can begin to provide and continue to maintain the services, the vital services that we are accustomed to here in the City of Commerce, but also enable them to bring their workforce back to work so that they can begin to support their families and provide for their families. So again, we urge everyone to continue to stay committed to the causes that we have before us, because if we're not able to get our economic engines up and running, we're going to face greater deficits, and there's going to be some more difficult times ahead for us as an organization as well as a community. And so we continue to press the issue. I know I want to thank our supervisor, Supervisor Hilda Solis, for publicly voicing her support of the reopening of the card rooms. We appreciate her support, and we urge her colleagues, the other Board of Supervisors, to join her in reopening our card rooms and ensuring that we get to a place where we can begin to bring our workforce back. The Commerce Casino could bring their workforce back, and we can navigate this COVID pandemic with some concerns eased to the extent that we can. And that's my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Torta. Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I won't sound too redundant, but I would also like to thank AFSCME Local 773 and 119 for the food distribution that we put together on Saturday. I would also really like to thank members of this community. members of Team Rebollo, my volunteers who are always there to support this community and volunteer their time. That day we had Mariam Rojo, Maria de la Luz Barrera, Elizabeth Rodriguez, and Kevin Lainez. Thank you for coming out with us to help this community. To thank the staff, the Parks and Rec staff, and the staff that volunteered their time. I want to say we were able to pass out over 300 bags of food. And then I would also like to thank the CSOs for, there was so much stuff left over, and they helped, put the food in their cars and go distribute at some of the areas of our community. So there was more families that were helped and blessed with this food. So thank you to our CSOs for going that extra mile and just helping this community. The names, I forget the names, but I will remember by the end of my report. It was Miss Officer Placencia, Officer Torres, and Officer Reynolds. Thank you again for the work on Saturday. And I just wanted to remind the community that we are having lunch still for kids at Rosewood School, Mondays 10 to 12, and Wednesdays 10 to 12. Remember, Monday you get lunch for Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday you get lunch for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But also the library has breakfast and snack at Bandini Park at 1:30 Monday through Friday. So let's remember to make use of these services that are provided to us. With that, I do want to thank Greg, who who has been looking at the reopening of certain activities. I know that we're restricted by the health department, but I do want to thank you. And I know this young resident has reached out to some of us prior to the council meeting, but I do want to thank Greg for looking at the possibility and the feasibility of these requests. So thank you for that, Greg. With that, I would like to ask for some action items. We have been getting questions from the community as far as program services. I would like for us to receive a finance update of where our budget is. I think that it's time for us to really just give that information to our community, us as well, get an update as to where our finances are, so we can get like a budget update, because I know that we all want to open up services, open up programs, but we also have to look at our budget, and so let's get an update so that we can better understand what are the programs and the services that we can provide for our community at this time. I'm really grateful that the casino looks like it's going to start reopening, so that's definitely going to help us a bit. So that would be one of the action items. Thank you again. As mentioned before, please continue to pray for our two deputies that were injured. Continue to pray for our deputies that take care of our community, of all of our communities, and let's continue to look for solutions for social and racial equity. Again, God bless everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you all for your reports. And yeah, I was not able to attend Saturdays with the volunteers. I actually was for the last past 3 weeks, I've been getting calls from seniors and others in regards to the heat, right? And some of them can't get out of their house to go to our cooling centers. So what we did, I had a few guys that were checking in on some of the seniors. Some of their homes were in the 90s, and we quickly, if they had AC, we made some repairs. On some of the seniors didn't have AC. We did do some minor installations to keep them cool. And I just asked to check on your neighbors if they're our seniors, to check on them. Some of the seniors were crying when we were able to drop the temperature for them. I couldn't believe that they were in their homes, reaching out for help. I also, my prayers also go out to the two sheriffs that were shot and their families, and my prayers also go out to our sheriffs to be safe, and then sheriffs and law enforcement throughout our nation. And also, my hopes are that we do start to open up. I think that we have other counties that are starting to open up. Right next to us is Orange County. They're opening up. We do have to get our kids out and start to have their activities, right? We already know that there's these teenagers rolling around our city, and we need to provide something for them to do. Also, we have a lot of the restaurants moving outdoor, which is good. So see if you can support your restaurants in City of Commerce, and also Stevens Steakhouse. They're doing pretty well. I think they're open from Wednesday through Sunday, I believe, and they actually have pizza now. They have a pizza oven, so if you guys want to order some pizza for them. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank staff for all the hard work you guys have been doing, and just keep doing the good work. So at this time, meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.